We have just got to the end of the day of questioning of Lindsey, a woman who was deceived into a long-term intimate relationship by the undercover officer Carlos Saraki, who infiltrated anti-racist, anti-fascist, socialist party in the early 2000s. It's been a very emotional afternoon of evidence. It's not been a particularly long afternoon session, but it was filled with emotion. Just ended with Lindsey giving a heartfelt expression of solidarity with all the others who have been affected by undercover policing, making recommendations to the chair, John Mitting, that the unit should be found to be institutionally sexist, institutionally misogynistic. She suggested they be given the full set, given they're already known as being institutionally racist and institutionally corrupt. I'm joined by Evelyn Lubbers of the Undercover Research Group. What did you make of what we've heard from Lindsey this afternoon and all day, really?
Yeah, well, she was incredibly strong. The combination of being emotional and making us laugh at the same time by her wit and by her, the way she survives all this. I think, I don't know, like maybe Carlos Saraki should leave the country and not appear. If I were him, his reputation has gone to threats, really. And indeed, it was so emotional because Lindsey was asked about the end of the relationship, how he just. It was clear that he didn't want to continue, but he kept her on a leash, and she kept having the expression that maybe it was possible to continue. She was very much in love with him. And that really ended when she got to a party where she saw him with Donna. Her relation was before the one with Donna, who we heard yesterday. And she had to leave that party early because she was so upset. And just all the questions about how she found, how the relationship unraveled was so emotional, and she still couldn't talk about it without crying, which must have rattled Mitty. It rattled all of us, we were all sitting there like, I want to run to her and hug her and be there for her. It clearly expressed the damage that these undercover officers did to the women they just choose to have sex with. They didn't even they didn't, as she said, they didn't even need to have these relationships with them. Carlo was like very, very much liked in the circles he infiltrated. He didn't need to have a relationship with anyone. He just chose to have one, like she said, as soon as he appeared on the screen. When he finished up with the first one, he jumped into a second one, proposed to her. It's the harm that's being done is incredible, really.
Yeah, I mean, what she painted a picture of very vividly, I felt today, was the fact that he could have. It wasn't just that. I mean, he could have. He didn't need to have the relationship for his deployment, but more than that, he didn't need to profess such love for her. He didn't need to emotionally manipulate her in such a way. Yeah. She says that she was very candid, in fact, about in a way in which many of the people who've given evidence haven't been, about the fact that she was up for a bit of fun. Yeah. In terms of a sexual connection,
she mentioned having sex with him like 2 or 3 times a week, and she mentioned that very often. Like I think Mitty must have she was very open about this, and the other thing.
But I mean, the key point of that is that he didn't just have sex with her. He told her he loved her. Yeah. He told her that he'd never met a woman like her. And we saw in the letter that she sent him, and we were shown a draft of the letter that she'd made and scribbled bits out, and then she wrote it up and then sent it to him. That she was very clearly very much in love with him because of his actions, because of the way in which that he'd said to her, "I don't just take anybody to Venice." The way that he really love bombed her, made all these connections with her, lavished gifts on her, things that he genuinely did not need to do if it was just simply about sex.
Sure. And the Venice holiday, of course, is a separate thing altogether, because there are reports on when he asks permission to travel to Venice. that he claims that he's going to see like Italian activists in various cities. He needs to have meetings with them, and Lindsey clearly says like, we didn't do any of that. I went there with him. We had like a very romantic holiday. We were shown pictures of that holiday, which shows them, strolling around Venice and enjoying everything and going for dinner and show the hotel room. And it was like a very nice holiday. And there was this one revelation that she overheard him while being on the phone, talking about her. What exactly did he say?
It was. I mean, essentially, she'd left him for 15 minutes. I mean, we did cover it in the early video. He said, "Oh no, she's pissed off with me, mate. She's not here. She's pissed off with me, mate."
Yeah, but the thing is that shows that his handler was there as well, and so that it adds to the corruption that we saw yesterday, where he invented a rent book and got refunded £695 a month for rent he didn't pay. This is like, it's so totally corrupt. He went on holiday with her just to be on holiday with her. His handler went with him. They knew, he was given permission. It cost hands full of money for the taxpayer, and it had no other goal than just convince her that how much he was in love with her, which he wasn't, of course.
Yeah, well, once we'd gone through the details of the breakup, which was obviously very, very traumatic for Lindsey to relive. She broke down. I mean, she was talking about breaking down, crying outside his flat when she couldn't get hold of him when he disappeared for 4 days, and then trying to get access. He'd given her these keys, but it turns out he'd never given her the deadlock key, which obviously was in use at the time when she tried to go around there, couldn't get in, broke down crying in the street in the early hours of the morning outside his flat before going home, crying, writing up in her notebook about how she was feeling, about the nature of it all. She got very, very emotional going through all of that. It was really difficult to witness, to be perfectly honest. And I just want to pay tribute really to Lindsey for going through reliving all of that. She then kind of gave a whole bunch of opinions about the way in which the inquiry operates and how she feels the inquiry should be looking to find the institutional sexism, institutional misogyny. She suggested giving them the whole set. They've already got institutional racism, institutional corruption. And then we had at the very end, Sir John Mitting decided to respond to that. I mean, as is always the case. And I mean, as I commented on Twitter, that this isn't new. Nothing he said was new, but he
it was disgusting. It was totally disrespectful. But as you say, well, a bit of she rattled him. Lindsey statements and emotions rattled him, and then he felt sort of pressed to say this, which is nothing new, but which is sort of I don't know, sort of making, sort of harnessing himself in a bit, like, okay, I've got all these crying women here, but let's remind that there is a reason for undercover policing and that we really need to do this. And basically implying that relationships should be a part of that. I don't know, like that's how it sounds at least. And that's what, his emotional capacities are not realizing maybe.
I found it very disrespectful. I mean, he also commented on the fact that it would not be his role to. For one of the things that she said was there should be findings, recommendations that came out of this process of the inquiry around the legislation that's been passed in the Covert Human Intelligence Sources Criminal Conduct Act of 2022. She named it, this is rape, that this rape will continue whilst the legislation allows it to, as this legislation does, and that needs to be repealed. And he said that it won't be his role to make those recommendations, that he will be filing a report about the SDS, but that his successor, whoever that comes to be, will be the one who makes the final report, that makes the recommendations. And I really felt this was him. It was a sign that he really is sidestepping his responsibilities that he took on by becoming chair of this inquiry.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like if he's writing the interim report now about the SDS, that why couldn't there be recommendations in that, or why, even if it would be like a memo to the new chair, he's really, like you say, he's stepping back. He's not taking his responsibility. And she did a heartfelt sort of response to that. Like, I don't want to hear all this about the secret bits or the closed bits of the inquiry. What this country needs is open communication, acknowledgement of what has happened. And she was, like, after having broken into to tears many times, she was so good at, like making all these political points. So that was like that. She really, we all broke into an applause when it was finished, and she'll be very glad that it's finished.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was a fantastic witness, incredibly human, connected emotionally with the audience. I mean, I dislike the phrase "speaking your truth," but I mean, she really did embody so much of her experience of being infiltrated. She was very much warts and all. She didn't try and paint herself in any particularly positive light.
She was funny. She made us laugh. She made us cry. It was incredible. Very emotionally draining by the end. It was really powerful to hear her pay tribute to Police Spies Out of Lives, the Undercover Research Group, Campaign Post Police Surveillance, all of the people, the monitoring group, the Blacklist support group, all the people who've been campaigning against spy cops, and saying that she will not rest from campaigning on those matters. That was the answer to the question, like, what did finding out about Soraki mean for your activism? And she said it was a silver lining to all of this, that she made so many new friends, and all the solidarity from all the people campaigning on this. But it's also it's hard, isn't it?
It's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard.
It's taking so much time and so much energy from all of us.
Just a few words really about who Lindsey is to all of us who have been campaigning around this issue and coming to the inquiry every day. Lindsey is someone who has been very active with Police Spies Out of Lives, and very supportive of everybody else who's been going through this process. She is, as you will get the impression of her from listening to her evidence today, she is a very warm, very caring person who really looks after people, and there's no exaggeration to say that without her support, I think a lot of people would have found this process very, very, very difficult to do, and I don't know if everybody would have done it the way they have. She hadn't been there to support them. I think that made it doubly heartrending to see her be so emotional there today on the stand.
And also, like, expanding that to, like, she was so worried about Carlos Recchi at several points in his life, because she is such a caring person, and to think that he deceived her at every single moment, every minute of their relationship is just heartbreaking.
It is. She also spoke very powerfully about the impact on her when she was asked about the impact on her when she found out he was an undercover officer back in 2015, and she talked really about the impact on her young son, and the way in which she wasn't, because she was so affected by finding this out, because she had sleepless nights, that she wasn't there really for him in the way that she should have been, how much she's been away from him because of the campaigning, because of the inquiry, and it really showed, the impact that these deployments have, not just on people's lives when they're happening, but the way that continues to be an issue, and not just for the people themselves, but the people they love, the people they care for, and it really, so my heart goes out to Lindsey and her entire family for the impact that this has had on her and them.
Sure.
There's been a couple of comments. One from Susan, just saying that we froze earlier. I do apologize for that. I did film it on a second camera. When this video is put on the Campaign Opposing Police Surveillance YouTube channel, we'll be able to slot in the bit where it froze from the other angle. It'll be slightly different ratio, but it should mean that you don't actually lose any of it. Another comment here from the Campaign Opposing Police Surveillance, just saying, admitting shameful words to Lindsey at the end were redolent of the Home Secretary's excuses for designating Palestine Action as a terrorist group. If you knew what I knew, this line, this somehow. I mean, we've heard it. We've heard it from politicians and judges and members of the establishment for forever. It feels like. I mean, it was the justification used for the Iraq War. It's been the justification used for all the indefensible things that the state does. And I think Lindsey said everything really when she says the state. We need a more open government. We need open justice. We need the state to realize that we're not children and to tell us the truth. Because quite frankly, I don't believe. She didn't say this, but I don't believe a fucking word they say, and I do not accept. I mean, like she was very humble with admitting that, I don't know. I'm not speaking from a place of knowledge like you are, but I'm not convinced. I would say I don't fucking believe you, John. I don't fucking believe you.
Agree.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's enough.
It's been a very powerful day of evidence. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow. We start off with Lois Austin, who returns to the inquiry. She gave evidence before about the deployment of Peter Francis. This time she'll be talking about the deployment of Carlos Recchi as well. She didn't have a relationship with him, but she was a key organizer in the May Day 2001 protests, which he infiltrated. After that, we will be hearing once again from Jason Bishop, HN3, who gave evidence, the undercover officer who gave evidence on Monday, who has been calling back for a second day or half day of questioning. Part of that we've learned today will take place in closed, so we won't be able to report what is said for that part of it, but we expect it to run quite late on Thursday. There's a lot of things. I mean, Jason Bishop had a particularly long deployment. He was undercover for 7 years. We only covered 2 of them in the whole day of questioning on Monday. So there's another 5 years of his deployment to go through. Just another comment here, just saying it's taken so long to reach this point. Thank goodness Lindsey and others remain unbowed and unbroken. Absolutely. And I mean, she paid tributes to the women. She said she stands on the shoulders of the women who initially found out and brought this to light. I mean, it's incredible, the tenacity of so many people who have been affected by the deployment of undercover officers. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'll be doing at the end of the week, I'll be doing a recap of the week, as I've done for the last 2 weeks. I'll be bringing people in who've been following the inquiry hearings all week, recapping each day of it. So please look out for that at the weekend. And we'll see you all again in the morning. Bye for now.